Hi, I'm Michelle Beckham-Corbin, President of C3 Creating Connections Consulting, a social media strategy firm.
And I'm Mark McCumber, President of McCumber Creations.
Welcome to our show on social media marketing.
Digitally speaking.
If you watched our last show, episode 6, we spent the period of that show talking about LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has become such a hot commodity right now for professionals. There are over 225 million users, and it really is the premier place to be for professionals. And it's not even the matter of if you're looking for a job. You really need to have your online brand kind of parked right there on LinkedIn. So if you want to learn more about how to use LinkedIn, check out episode 6. Digitally Speaking, on the Anderson Community Television YouTube channel or the Anderson Community Television website. But today we are kind of flipping gears, and we are going to be talking about something that's near and dear to Mark's heart. So Mark, why don't you jump in and tell our viewing audience what we're going to be talking about today.
Awesome, Michelle, thank you. Well, I'm going to be made of an example of, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm going to be the guinea pig today for essentially an assessment about business and how when one has a startup company and you want to get going in the marketplace, and how to implement social media and use all of the great tools that we talk about all the time here at Digitally Speaking, about how to use them to help you optimize your exposure in getting a new business off the ground. So I've launched a new business, and very, very excited about it. So we're going to kind of use that as the model, if you will, to explore all the different things that one would go through as an entrepreneur and a business owner, whether it be a large or small business, and talk about some of the commonalities that run through that whole thread. So very excited that we're going to talk about this new show that I'm doing.
Right, and Mark, I thought I absolutely love the name of the show. And before we go any further, I want to let the audience know too that it's more than a show. And I know you're going to be sharing a little bit about kind of the grand plan, etc. But I thought even before we get into everything, if you could kind of talk a little bit about the name of the show and maybe how that came about. And if you can kind of share with the video, with the viewing audience, you know, what these lovely angels are that have joined us here on the set.
Well, I'll just speak to that very, very quickly. These are some of our dancing girls from the show, and they are characters, and they are little icons that represent angels and just little spirits of love, and that's kind of their particular role. And in the play, it's also a retail line, so we have a lot of use out of these guys. We're going to put them to work very, very hard, and they're not unions, so they don't charge us very much, and that's all good.
Well, so, I love this one because you've got a spot for really 3 candles,
yes.
One on that end and this end, and then
there's a hidden one because the flame appears in the little heart. You can't, for those in the TV audience can't see, her little heart opens up. There's a flame that if you have the right size candle, it appears in the heart, and it's a neat little icon, and is representative of really just the symbol of love. So it's pretty simple. We've got all kinds of neat little characters that are going to appear in our set and our show. And
tell us the name of the show.
The show is called The Humanity Machine, Harvesting the Moment, and it is a small story of a large love. It's a love story. The gist of it is it's about man's interpersonal connection to man. We're all on the planet. We all live together on the planet. We inhabit the planet. We have responsibility to the planet and to each other. And it's that simple of a notion, if you will, about the exploration of that. And essentially our relationship with nature, because it is our home. Until we can find a way to get off the planet, we're here now, so we should take care of our home and take care of each other. That's the way we look at it from the Humanity Machine. Harvesting the Moment, this iteration of the company, the Humanity Machine, is really kind of a play on words about seizing the moment, the concept of carpe diem, living in the now, being here in the moment, and it's that, seize the day, because our lives are truly short, and we need to relish those for what they are, and relish our relationships with our loved ones and our friends, and etc., and be nice to each other. It's about the commonality and goodwill of man, and exemplifying that in lieu of all of the things that happen that are hard in life. I mean, we're all challenged with a lot of different things, whether it be health issues or financial issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and life is truly a short journey. So It's about that.
Well, you know, it's such a timely message too. So the show is all about, as you said, love and connectivity, and the fact that it's going to run during the holiday time is perfect timing, because that's when people, more than any other time of the year, really need to have that message of hope. You know, if no matter what's going on in their lives, that that ability to touch or connect with that another human being and realize that there's purpose, etc. I think is great. And tell us a little bit about you know, your personal stamp into all of this.
Well, what's great is my business partner in this endeavor, Edward Casagrande, is a longtime friend, professional peer, architectural designer turned sculptor, background in architecture, much like myself. We both process in very similar ways, so it was a great creative partnership and business partnership because of that, because we have a great creative, I won't say tension, it's more a synergy. And out of that, one partner pushes the other one. And you know, when we're creating by ourselves, often we have ourselves and our own thoughts to deal with, but when you have someone else that you get in this great synergistic partnership with, that a lot of ideas come out, and because of that, you get a greater product at the end. And I think that's what's really great about creative partnerships specifically, and business too, for that matter. You get the right people that bring things to the table, maybe from perspectives that you don't see normally. So in that, that we've been able to conceptualize this great notion about the humanity machine, and this particular iteration or show being Harvesting the Moment, because we've done 2 prior shows to this. So this is kind of the culmination of what we've done in the past, and we're really excited because now we brought it into a theater.
Yes. Well, and you know, from that whole startup culture that we kind of opened the show with, you two have a history together. You've already done 2 projects together. And a lot of times you have startups that may bring, you know, 2 or 3 people together, and they're coming together because of the strengths that they each bring to the table, right? But they don't necessarily have a prior, you know, working history with each other. So what kind of advice would you give people who are maybe looking to do a startup with a partner, for things that they should maybe be on the lookout for as far as working with another person?
Well, having been in other partnerships business-wise, whether it be in musical and artistic partnerships with songwriters and or producers, co-producers on projects, or even in my other business, which involves architecture, design, and construction, one of the things is it is a synergy, and professional respect and decorum, if you will, is really important. It's really hard in business, especially when you get into finance. As often, finance is always everyone's biggest challenge, or some people are lucky and they don't have that, but most of us all have to worry about cash flow, worry about all those things. So when times are good, things are easy. When times get tough or you hit challenges, I think the biggest advice I could give to anybody is to you know, stay the course. Plan the work the plan, because it's real easy when you get challenged to, you know, turn the energy somewhere else other than figuring or finding out a solution. And I think if I had to give some philosophical advice to somebody about being in a business, that would be my biggest one, because I think that's the biggest challenge that you run into when you have partners, because you answer to them as well. That's
great advice, and I loved what you included in that answer. To work the plan. And I think that, you know, with any type of a new business or even an existing business, having a strategic plan is so very, very important, because a business isn't going to know where they're going and how to get there if they don't kind of have a roadmap to follow. Not to say that, you know, what you set down is going to be set in stone. Obviously, you want to be flexible, right? To be able to kind of move to changes, or if things come up. You had shared that some things came up with your show that caused you to take a different direction, perhaps. And so flexibility is going to be really, really key with that. I think what people would probably really love to hear is, so you two came together to put on this project, and talk a little bit about, I guess, the marketing behind it, or some of the things that you are hoping to do to kind of raise awareness, not only for the shows that will run in November, but also for the future too.
Well, part of the brand that we're trying to create with this,
And I love that brand. See?
It is a
Yeah,
creative
it's a
brand, and we're approaching it in that manner because you know, even people that are in the creative industry have to make a living and you know, pay bills and do the whole thing. So it is a for-profit, but with our particular brand, there is a give back to it. So in part of this, in growing this business, was to get a message out, because it is an art, it is a performance art piece. Right. In this particular iteration, especially, we're trying to get a really universal message out across to people that is spirit lifting. So it's a positive statement, it's a positive spirit, but it's also in building something that will endure. And as you note, I think there are a couple really critical things in plans. Business plans, especially, as they usually relate mostly to money. 90% of the things you're concentrating on when you're doing a business plan is about your finance, how you're going to make this work, how you're going to make cash flow go, how are you going to do this, pay the bills, and keep this thing on the move till you start getting income. But I think a very critical element to it, and for people who are business-minded or finance-minded, they have a tendency, or even creative-minded, focus on those things, or focus on the product itself rather than the marketing and how you're going to take it to the marketplace, how you're going to get people to hear about it and get exposure on it, and especially then how you're going to get people to swipe their cards, you know, and purchase, whether it be retail or conceptual, whatever it is that the business is selling. And that is, when I speak the plan, the work the plan, I think marketing is a huge piece of it. And there's so much to it, especially because as we touch base on our show and talk about all the different elements and all the different options that we have, how does the guy that has to wear the fire hat and the police hat and the chairman of the board hat and the window cleaning guy and the, you know, take the trash out on Wednesday guy, how does that guy who has a small business able to focus and prioritize on all the things that are critical to making a business run? And and that's hard because we only have so much time in a given day to give to that. It's easy to eat, breathe, and sleep your business. So when it comes to being strategic about how you put that plan together, it's why all of these great tools now from social media and everything aid and abet being able to do that. So the clue is getting really up to speed on all these great new tools, and educating ourselves and figuring out how we're going to utilize all those great tools to make us more successful, make our businesses more successful.
Right, and you know, you raise a really great point. I recently just came off of kind of the speaking circuit and did a couple of seminars all around that exact topic. You know, how do you come up with a strategic social media marketing plan? And for small businesses, you're right, so many small business folks are wearing multiple hats. And when you are time challenged, you know, it might not even be a budget situation. It might even just be a situation of not having enough time to even figure out where do you start, you know? But that really is the key, you know, and I tell people it's a lot like maybe riding a bicycle when you're very small. You're spending a lot of time trying to get it figured out, but once you get it, it's kind of smooth sailing. And so for small businesses particularly, they really need to take that time to get the education and to really have a good working knowledge of what their message is and who they're trying to reach and where those folks are. And making sure that all of that wraps together with their traditional marketing. Social media no longer is just, you know, the toys in the toolbox. You know, you just kind of pull it out when you need something special. Social media is marketing, the same marketing you've been doing for hundreds of years, but it's adding those social vehicles, those digital vehicles into the entire plan. So, you know, once a small business does figure out what are the places that I need to be, that's when you start to work the magic. And for a lot of businesses, and especially for this show and this whole project, it's about word of mouth. And actually what I say today, Mark, is world of mouth, right? Because we're in this whole global situation. But if anyone can get their marketing in place and their key vehicles in place, and to get people to fall in love with your brand, fall in love with the service that you provide, get them to really develop a relationship with the folks behind the brand. So in your case, you and Edward, and to start talking, because 97% of people trust peer recommendations. And so if you have someone that really has an experience of the brand, of the service, of the company, and they share that with their friends, boy, that's just worth, worth a couple gold bullion.
Gold bullion, gold records. So, well, again, you know, I think that's one of the things that's exceptional about this particular time we live in, that we have access to all these great tools, and they give us accessibility to so many markets that in days past that you would have had to spend huge budgets just to get advertising in a magazine or a newspaper or on television or through medias, that where now we all have instant access through our great little gizmos that are getting smaller and smaller every day, that we can get the message out. But as the point that you make is about making sure that that message that you're getting out is getting to the target that you want to get it to, and getting the message across really clean and succinctly to your target audience, to your potential buyers.
Right. In the message, and then what I like to tell clients that I work with is it's the relationship, which is perfect for what you guys are doing. Because yes, as a business, we want to get that call to action out there, but we don't want to be sending it, gosh, in absence of anything else. We want to be able to have those conversations with the audience, to draw them in, to get them to fall in love with our brand, and then subtly at times, and then at other times directly, you know, put that call to action in of what we would like them to do. But that's the beautiful thing about social media. It's social, you know, and it gives us that opportunity to have the conversation. And again, what I love with your project is you take all of the social, all of the marketing that's done digitally, and you're bringing people into the theater. That's the call to action, where people are going to come together in real life, as we say IRL, right? In real life, you know, where they can actually talk to each other. And I know you've got some plans for sparking conversation. I don't know if it's going to be at intermission or after the show, but right, to get people to talk after they've seen the show, been part of it.
Part of our, it is this particular show has no intermission, so we invite folks in. It's an experiential piece where when people come into the lobby, they're actually going to see some of our pieces, that there's an extension of the show that spills outside the theater. As you come into, we're actually going to try to start setting the mood and the tone. It is an experiential opportunity for us to start to get people's interest and curiosities aroused, not just with our marketing. Once you get to the actual event itself, you'll start seeing some little wayfinders, if you will, that will go, wow, that's really cool. There was this little thing that told me this. And then I come into the lobby, and there's going to be some other really surprise things that you see in the lobby that'll start to tell the story that we're trying to unfold in the show itself. So as we start to lure people into the mystery and all of the great little things that we're trying to message through our show, that there's going to be a way to lure them in. And then after the show, because there's no intermission, is kind of more like a meet and greet for the cast, and some social time and refreshments and a little marketplace to take a look at all our wares, if you will. And I think one of the neat points that you make is about that social interaction. And you know, it kind of, as it relates to startups and new businesses, I think one of the things that's really important for a business trying to find its way in the world, and sometimes whether it's a new or a startup, is that you almost do a test market. We had a really great opportunity that our first two events that we put on were essentially done as a test market for us to be able to see, hey, what's the viability of us doing this? Are we going to get reaction to it? Are we going to throw this event and have nobody show up? Or if the people that do show up, what's the reaction? Are people going to, how are they going to be affected by this? And so the first event that we threw that was, we thought, amazingly successful, considering that it was done really quickly, and we had this concept about the harmonic concordance of art and music together in an experiential setting, that we had a great turnout. Sometimes great, sometimes phenomenal, sometimes moderate. But then our second event, which we participated in a much larger venue, if you will, where there were hundreds of thousands of people that came through. It was stunning. And then to see how they reacted to what it was that we were trying to message and sell. And that was a great opportunity to be able to do that, because I think then we finally realized that, yes, this thing potentially could have some legs, and before we spend a lot of money going down the road of throwing it into a business that we had made this huge commitment to, we kind of took baby steps, if you will, to get the thing off the ground. And I think that's another good piece of advice for startups, to say, hey, don't throw everything into it first. Do some test marketing, do a little bit of research, do some study, get it to the point where you really feel like, hey, it can take off.
Absolutely. And I loved what you said about kind of getting the reaction of the people that experience both of those events. Because, in our minds as creators or business owners, we may think that our product or service is just, the bee's knees. That's a very old expression, but we think it's really great. But if the world out there is not receptive to what we're selling, then you're right, we are going to be kind of going down the wrong path in the universe. So that's really nice, that you've got that a couple of events behind your the current event that's coming up. So
it's just, again, a transformation for us to take these to the next level, and it's been really exciting doing all of the different aspects of this, and being a small entrepreneur in a very small business. We're a two-man show, basically. It does create quite a demand of time and creativity and resources to put these things together. But it's also, I think, one of the things that, as an entrepreneur such as yourself and myself, one of the things that we gain out of that a lot is the love of developing and building a business for yourself, and that it is yours and it is a creation, and that all the time and energy spent and love is that when it does succeed on whatever level, because successes aren't measured and always necessarily in the bottom line. It helps, but they're not always measured in the bottom line. And there's a lot to quality of life, I think, gets added to that when you're able to do what you truly love and throw your whole being into whatever that is, whatever kind of business that is. Doesn't matter what it is. That there's a fulfillment by that. And I think that in this day and age, we're finding more and more of that, of people who've been able to be creative and figure out ways to create a business that they can operate out of their home. And there's a lot of great advantages to that. The low overhead, you don't have to go out and buy buildings or have these, you can grow at your pace, take on as much as you want to take on. And then the fulfillment of owning a business, I think, is for some really rewarding. And it's neat, and we see more and more people. And then, of course, we want to just get into the basic economics of it. The government keeps telling us that small business is critical to the growth of the economy. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're thinking about starting a business, it's always a good time to be thinking about those. But get some good marketing advice and get somebody to consult with you so that you're going in the right direction and making the right moves. And I fortunately have some really great consultants and friends to talk to about stuff and bounce ideas off of, and it's all good stuff.
And speaking of bouncing ideas, as we were talking about this, I was thinking, have you thought about creating a hashtag for the show so that people could be tweeting, maybe not necessarily during, just because I'm assuming the theater will be dark. I don't know if it's going to be lit based on what you're doing or not, but at the very least, before and after, to kind of help to spread the energy behind the show.
Boy, is that a great question. It just so happens that we have designed a character into the show, and I can't give all the secrets away because it's proprietary, and of course I want everybody to come and see the show. But one of our characters, who does our opening up monologue, if you will, appears and talks about some housekeeping things that we have to do to get conveyed some information to the opening audience. But the other thing he talks about is encouraging everyone to turn off their noisemakers in their phones, their alarms, and their flashes. But we actually encourage photography taking via phone. We encourage tweeting. Make a movie, for goodness sakes. I don't care. Post it to YouTube. It's part of the paradigm of our show, is to say, hey, we want this to be interactive.
Great.
We want people to get engaged with this. And part of that is, hey, we hope people go, that's really cool. You're not going to believe what this looks like. I got to take a picture of this. Fine, just don't blow our eyeballs out with
the flash.
With the flashes. There'll be plenty of light. It's a theater. Take the picture, make a movie. I don't care.
That is fantastic.
Send it out. So the answer to your question, circuitously, is absolutely
Good.
yes. And I'm trying to take your advice into consideration when I say, hey, you use every trick in the book.
Yeah.
To some degree.
Vine, Instagram,
Yep.
Facebook, Twitter.
Everything.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful, especially with a show that is experiential, you know, and involving the audience. I love the fact that audience folks will get introduced to the show the minute they step into the building. And so why don't you tell everyone where it's going to be and when it's going to be?
Well, I'd be glad to do that. And I'm very, very proud to say that it's going to be produced here at the Anderson Center Theater, which is one of the most exquisite small theaters that I've seen in a long time. It is one of the most beautiful, intimate, small settings. 220 seat. There is not a bad seat in the house. And for anybody who's ever been here before, they'll know what I'm talking about. The sound is exceptional. It's comfortable. It's ADA compliant. It meets all the criteria that you want for a great little show such as this one. And we are opening up Thursday, the 21st of November, and we will have a series of 7 o'clock shows, Thursday, Friday. There are 2 shows on Saturday and Sunday, the 23rd and 24th, a 2 o'clock matinee, 6 o'clock show on Sunday, 7 o'clock show on Saturday. And then the following Monday and Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving, we have a closed show on Tuesday for family and friends and a big cast party, and then the Monday show is at 7 also. So there's plenty of information being distributed around how to find us and get to us to get tickets. And
Facebook page is a great place to go.
Facebook page is a very easy place to go. And one of the things that we have done, and we think it's really important for us, is that we've partnered with some nonprofits. So there's a give back to it. We have donated blocks of tickets to nonprofits who are able to take those tickets and then raise money for their cause.
That's
so,
awesome.
We believe in things like, we believe in humanity. It's one of our big things because we are the humanity machine. But it's also, we believe in the pets of the world. So we're trying to work things out with people who raise money for pets and animal welfare and folks with disabilities and a whole host of nonprofits that we've extended invitations out to. So being the first show, we're getting really, really close to, and we've had some people take us up on our offers. So we're real excited about that and very excited to, have the show open, and it's going to be really, really great. So.
Well, and it's a win for everyone. I mean, it sounds like just a wonderful opportunity. Again, as I mentioned before, with November, perfect timing. If people have, family that's coming in for Thanksgiving, if they happen to come in a couple days early, they have an opportunity to catch that Monday show.
Sure.
And really be treated to, it sounds like a very, very special experience. I can't wait to see the large extensions of this beautiful artwork here.
Well, the set is spectacular, I have to say, even though I had a very, very heavy hand in designing it, along with Edward, of course. We are, again, a great creative partnership. But the set is spectacular, and it really is telling. So when you see it, it will be something, I can say you have never seen anything quite like this. And it'll be a lot of fun. So we're really excited to be doing this here at the Anderson Center Theater. And so while I have this opportunity, I want to thank ACTV, who has been so gracious to host our show.
That's right.
And give us exposure for all these great topics that we bring to you every week. And please, please, tell all your friends, tell all your neighbors, tell everybody about Digitally Speaking, and visit us here, because next month we're going to have some really great stuff to talk about.
We should be talking about Twitter.
Talking about Twitter, which is the hot topic. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Michelle and myself, thanks for joining us today on Digitally Speaking, and look forward to seeing you next time.